talk about an updated Chiefs injury report, some recent roster transactions, Mahomes continuing to downplay his halftime exchange with Eric Bieniemy, and then look at the last play of the game, Chiefs versus Colts, in which a surprising veteran player on the team appears to have messed up on his route, which caused Mahomes to hesitate and therefore throw an interception. So let's talk about it. But first, how about those? What's up, guys? My name is Cole, and I do daily news about the Kansas City Chiefs, so make sure to sub, hit that like button, all that good stuff, and let's get into this video. We're going to cover a flurry of Chiefs news for the day. First off, the Chiefs dropped their injury report, so let's look at it real quick. I see Mike Dana, that calf injury he's been nursing for a couple weeks. I don't think he's going to play this Sunday is my guess. Mecole Hardman is still battling with that heel injury. He's not participating in practice, or he did not participate in practice today per Coach Reed. He did say he should be fine, good to go and play this Sunday, but they are resting him in his heel. They let Ronald Jones go home. He was sick, probably sick and tired of not being able to play a single down on the football field, but he was sick, so they let him go. And then we'll have to figure out what's going on here, but Chris Jones was a no-show. We don't know why, but it's not injury related. Kicker Harrison Butker was limited. MVS was limited with an abdomen injury. So hopefully MVS is okay. And Chris Jones, for whatever reason he missed, hopefully he's good too. Andy Reid, prior to practice during his presser, made no mention of Chris Jones being injured or sick or going to be absent or anything like that. Now, he did talk about Chris Jones and the whole penalty debacle because he was asked about it once again. And I think Coach Reid was sick of talking about it, but he did talk with Chris Jones, supposedly one-on-one about it. And here's what he had to say to the media.
I'm past it and going forward here. Chris and I have talked. I'm not going to get into that part, but he's pretty honest with me on things.
So will we ever know what Chris Jones said to Matt Ryan? Probably not. We'll have to see. Now, moving back to injuries, Harrison Butker was out on the field today getting limited reps in, but also the newly signed former Jaguars kicker Matt Wright was there as well. He's signed to the practice squad, was getting some reps in as well alongside Harrison Butker today. And since we're talking about the Matt Wright signing to the practice squad, let's go over some roster transactions that have happened recently, because there's quite a bit. So yesterday, linebacker Elijah Lee was cut from the roster, but then today re-signed to the practice squad. Now, the practice squad was actually full prior to this, so the Chiefs went ahead and activated rookie safety Nazeeh Johnson to the active roster, and therefore Elijah Lee takes the spot that Nazeeh Johnson left when they activated him. So basically it's complicated, but they switched spots. Another addition to the practice squad yesterday was former Jaguars kicker Matthew Never Wrong Right. They actually made one more signing to the practice squad as well, which filled it up completely, which was defensive tackle Cortez Broughton. And I talked about in yesterday's video, I have no idea what he's doing there because they now have 3 defensive tackles on the practice squad and I think 4 on the active roster. So they have 7 right now. I don't know if a trade's coming. We'll have to wait and see. So the Chiefs now have filled their practice squad all the way up 16 of 16. Now, the Chiefs have a Sunday night game coming up this Sunday against the Buccaneers. And we've been talking about that on where they're going to play. How's it going to happen? What's it all going to look like? Well, the update right now is on a decision about whether Sunday Night Football can be played in Tampa. Question is not just whether Tampa is hit, it's whether playing the game would sap resources that are needed for disaster relief and recovery. NFL will consult with local officials, the teams, and disaster relief agencies. So basically, Hurricane Ian should be done or at least past the area by then, but the backup plan is for sure going to be that the game takes place in Minnesota at the Viking Stadium since they are away to play against the Saints in London. The question is, even if the Hurricanes passed, how much damage is done around the surrounding areas and how much time and allocation of resources do they need to designate, not to facilitating a football game, but taking care of, I don't know, wounded people and all that stuff. So prayers for the Florida area for sure, but it looks like it's still going to be a last-minute decision. We will probably find out tomorrow or Friday, but either way, Mahomes does not give a crap where they play. He's just focused on the dub, on the opponent at hand.
For us, it's an away game regardless, so you're going to be going somewhere to play. So you just kind of focus on the game plan, and try to prepare yourself that way. And, I mean, obviously, I want to send thoughts and prayers to everybody in the Florida area, and hopefully they got out of there, and if not, that they're bunkered down and safe.
Both of these teams are coming off of losses. The Bucs lost, I think, 12-14 to the Packers last week, and then obviously the Chiefs lost to the Colts by 3. So both of these teams are very hungry, nom for a victory. And speaking of the old Bucs, Juan Thornhill himself is excited to play against the Bucs once again.
I don't think we've played them since we lost that game. So, I mean, it's going to be really exciting being able to face a team that you lost to in the past and just try to get a rematch and hopefully we come out a win.
Yeah, I'm sure he has not forgotten the bitter taste of defeat. Chiefs versus Bucs in the Super Bowl. If you guys remember, it was basically an offensive line from the Walmart parking lot because there were so many injuries. And basically, Mahomes had to scramble back and forth like 400 yards in that game to avoid being sacked, in which he was still sacked, I think, 3 times, hit 9 times, and it was a mess. I don't even know if they scored a TD in that game. They basically soiled their joggers. It was not good. I don't want to think about it. I get PTSD actually every time I do. Well, their outside linebacker, talking about the Bucs, Shaq Barrett, he had some words about the Chiefs' offensive line for this Sunday's game and seems very confident that the D-line of the Bucs versus the O-line of the Chiefs could look similar to how it did in the Super Bowl.
We have a lot of favorable matchups. I think we have an opportunity to really dominate the game. I just think, we got an opportunity to really impose our will as pass rushers, edge rushers this game, and we could really have a coming out party. Cause I know we had 6 sacks the other game, but we could really have a coming out party as edge and as edge defenders in the position group for this game.
I found it interesting. He used the term coming out party. He used it twice, and I was like, man, that word sounds familiar. Let me look up the definition. Well, originally meant that a woman was old enough to be married, and part of the purpose of her coming out was to display her to eligible bachelors and their families with a view to marriage within a select circle. So it's a very odd term that he would use coming out party 2 times in this video. Either way, it was brought up to Mahomes. Mahomes did not care.
Yeah, man, I trust those 5 guys that we have out there. I feel like we have one of the best offensive lines in the league, and we'll go in there with that mindset.
Yeah, Mahomes' short answer means, away with you, peasant. I don't have time for what Shaq Barrett says. I do not care. Now, I will say this. The O-line is looking a bit rough these past 3 games. I've looked at the coach's film, and we'll probably cover more of that in a later video, but there's a couple reasons why the O-line is looking a bit rough. First off, there's a couple injuries. Orlando Brown Jr. is dealing with some sort of a knee injury. Not sure how major it is, but it's definitely there. Coach Reed spoke about it today in his presser.
I think it was bugging him a little bit last week, but like I said, we can all do better.
And then Trey Smith is dealing with an ankle injury of sorts, and you can tell he is not 100%. And the other reason, aside from the injuries, is the league now has a year of game film on them. I said this last night during the live stream, and I found it good to bring up today. You got to think about this. The Chiefs' offensive line last year was basically brand new. Creed Humphrey was a rookie. Trey Smith was a rookie. Joe Thuney was a signing that they brought in from another team, as well as Orlando Brown Jr. being brought in from another team. And then the right tackle was Lucas Niang, who it wasn't his rookie year, but he sat out his rookie year, I believe it was, because of COVID. What I'm getting at is they didn't have much game film on this offensive line, like at all. So these guys were able to pretty much destroy. And you would think, well, they're going into year 2. They have more experience under their belt. The rookies are only getting better. They're learning to mesh even more. Well, Orlando Brown Jr. was gone all offseason, first off. But second, they now have a lot of game film on the Chiefs' offensive line. So they're coming in with game plans that are sort of throwing the Chiefs' offensive line off. So just think about that, those couple things, the injuries, and then there's now game film on the Chiefs' offensive line, and teams are using that accordingly and will continue to do that. Now, the Chiefs will study the film and counter, but just worth noting. And then Todd Bowles, this is the final thought on all of this. Todd Bowles is the Bucs head coach, but he was the Bucs defensive coordinator during the Super Bowl and basically showed the league the blueprint on how to defend the Chiefs successfully with the too high safety look. And Todd Bowles is a freaking legend. He's going to have a game plan for the defense. He's a defensive-minded coach, and it's going to be a tough battle. The defense is definitely the strength of the Buccaneers, and honestly, it's the strength of the Chiefs, believe it or not, right now, based on 3 games. The Cardinals game, okay, they put up like 44, 45, yes, but the last 2, defense really kept them in the game. Now, speaking of previous games, I want to look at some snap count notes from the Chiefs versus Colts game because it's very interesting to see who plays how many and where, and it's kind of telling, at least to us what the coaches are thinking and their mindset and their confidence of putting them out there either with the offense or the defense. Jerick McKinnon leads the running back room in overall snaps, for example. I think he's led the running back room in overall snaps in all 3 games, and he was on the field for 52% of plays. So McKinnon's getting more reps than CEH. Why? I don't know. Not really sure, but there you have it. Travis Kelce led the offense in snaps outside of the O-line and Mahomes. And as far as receivers go, MVS led with 47 snaps, Mecole with 42, Juju had 41, then Justin Watson had 9, Sky Moore had 8 as far as offensive snaps. Then for the defense, Nick Bolton played in 100% of snaps, as well as Justin Reed, L'Jarius Sneed, Juan Thornhill, Fenton had 98. I think he missed 1 play. And then Jalen Watson saw 83% of defensive snaps. And Willie Gay's absence, Darius Harris saw 88% of snaps. Leo Chanel saw only 16% of snaps, but was used almost exclusively on running plays. Chris Jones and Carl Loftus saw the most time on the field for the D-line at 80%. Frank Clark closely behind at 71. Dunlap at 45. And then I also want to note that KC used Chris Jones on the outside more often. According to PFF, Jones played 32% of his snaps lined up on the edge. So that's certainly interesting. And then both Jack Cochran and Elijah Lee, both linebackers, played only special teams snaps. And on the subject of special teams, the snap leaders were actually both Jack Cochran, Elijah Lee, as well as Chris Lammons and Deion Bush at 83% of special team snaps. Brian Cook had 65% special team snaps, and Michael Burton had 52. And it's also interesting to note that Jody Fortson played more snaps on special teams, 12, than he did on offense, 6. So there's the snap counts. We're done with that. But the reason I share that is just like very interesting to see who's playing where and how much, as I explained before, because you notice stuff like this. Jody Fortson only played 6 snaps on offense, 12 on special teams. Definitely surprising to me. He also played no snaps on offense that involved a run, or if he was involved, he did no run blocking. They don't trust this man to block for the run. I think they're struggling enough as it is without Blake Bell there. So for what it's worth, Jody Fortson is certainly being used much slower than I thought he would. Now, a couple more things I want to talk about. Mahomes was asked during his presser today about the exchange once again with Eric Bieniemy, but basically, have you had a chance to talk with Eric Bieniemy since that happened?
We talk every day anyways, something we don't even really worry about, and we just continue on and move forward. I have a lot of trust in Coach Bieniemy. He's done a lot of great things for this organization and for this team, and he'll continue to push us forward to be even better.
They talk every day, all right? I'm sure it's going to be fine. They're both passionate people. I've shared about it in previous videos, yesterday's video, maybe the day before. They're both very passionate people. EB is very blunt. Patrick Mahomes wants to win at all costs, so that stuff is going to happen. It seems like they are fine. Now, Mahomes was also asked about something else that was very interesting. It's a play that was going around, shared by, I think, Seth Kaiser on Twitter, about the last play of the game. It was a pass to Juju that resulted in an interception and sealed the game officially. Well, here's what Mahomes had to say about that play.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I didn't get executed right because there was an interception, but I mean, it's tough windows. You got to make a throw there. I try to find the best look guy and try to give him the ball, and so he can get down and get a timeout and get a chance for a field goal. And they made a good job of tipping the pass, and they got up there and made an interception. So it was obviously we didn't happen the way we wanted to, but we tried to give ourselves a chance to get that field goal.
So if we actually look at this play, which Mahomes did say there was a miscue, you can see here Mecole Hardman and Juju are on this far side. So from what I can tell and what I've read, Mecole Hardman was supposed to run up a few yards, and it was a pick play for Juju running a quick slant, but Mecole didn't run up enough. Juju was supposed to quick slant underneath him and would have been wide open, honestly, for a play. And Mahomes was ready to throw that ball. You can actually see on this play Mahomes pump fakes because Juju had to go behind Mecole instead of in front of him. And you're probably wondering, well, how the heck do you know Juju didn't mess up and it was Mecole? Well, we're just basing this kind of off the end of the play here. Juju is like talking. You can see with the hand movements, he's talking to Mecole, and Mecole is looking a little confused. You can see here, he's like, dude, you were supposed to do this. You were supposed to do that. So this is surprising to me. I think Mecole Hardman was off on this play. He ran the wrong route. So I'm not bringing this up just to pick on Mecole. You've already heard me, guys. It was way more than just Mecole Hardman. It was misfiring on all cylinders, special teams collapsing, the offense's inability to convert on third downs. Mahomes was pressured on, I think, like 30% of his dropbacks. 30%, that's 1 in 3 almost. Then, of course, Chris Jones at the end of the game and all that good stuff. But this is sort of what seals the deal here, because had they made this pass, could have been in field goal range potentially. And would Matt Amendola have made that field goal? I doubt it. But we will never know, because they never got the opportunity. And here's where I want to pass a question off to you all. Are you a bit surprised here that Mecole seemed to mess up his route here with the game on the line, with him going into his 4th NFL season with the Chiefs? So he knows the system, he knows the offense, all that good stuff. Let me know your thoughts there. I was a little surprised to see that happen. Now, I'm not necessarily surprised at Mecole's overall numbers because he's dealing with this heel injury, but just surprised that you're going to, with the game on the line, mess up a route like that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and let's fight about it down there per usual. Make sure to sub, like if you enjoyed the video, and check out this video here. Pew, pew. And until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those?